This is Row Talk.
Taj, right?
Yeah, Taj,
So thank you for agreeing to chat.
of course.
Um, you wrote a book. I can't rap, but I can write. That was yours.
Mhm.
I guess.
Show the viewers
Yeah, so I'll do that one, and it's on Amazon.
on Amazon, just Amazon.
Just Amazon.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we'll get into that. But like I was just saying, I graduated from engineering in 2015.
Okay.
I did electrical engineering
From Western?
from Waterloo.
Oh,
So
really?
we
I didn't know
actually
you
went
go
the
to Waterloo
same
too. Okay,
school,
sweet.
Yeah. So you graduated around the same time? Or?
I'm still. I remember, I got a few courses left, so I'm kind of finishing up now.
Oh, okay.
But I've been kind of part time, so I work on stuff like my book, and then I'm doing courses as well on the side.
Okay, so you're still going to school.
I'm still. It's all online though for me,
Okay.
which is really nice. So I can kind of be wherever I want and do my courses, and then work on
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
like this too.
Is it online because of the pandemic? They transitioned it, or
it has been online, but now they're going back to in person. But I still chose to just stick online.
yeah,
I don't know. I find it personally a lot easier.
yeah,
And yeah, just more. It's way better when I can just do stuff on my laptop, and then like put it away. You don't have to worry about waking up early to a lecture or something, right?
yeah,
And then still focus on my stuff as well.
yeah. Sorry, I forgot to record on here.
Okay.
This is my backup,
Okay.
just in case this mic doesn't work.
Okay, sure.
So yeah, my sister is actually also working from home. She
Mhm.
works in Mississauga, but it's just so much cheaper, and you can save more money if you're well, she's living here with my family right now, so yeah, so that's always a bonus. So I was saying, yeah, I went to Waterloo. I graduated in 2015, and I was working near Ottawa in the town of Perth.
Okay.
Have you ever been?
Perth? I've heard of Perth, Ontario, if you like, but I've never been. No.
It's a small town.
Okay.
Between Kingston and Ottawa, about an hour each way.
Mhm.
Anyway, I worked there for 2.5 years, and then I decided to take a year off. Then I moved back here. I finished a course at Fanshawe, a program at the end of 2019, and started looking for work from January 2020 when pandemic started going. So that whole year I had a bunch of interviews, but nothing kind of materialized. And then eventually I started working at Chapters, which is where we met.
Yep.
So yeah, you came in, you were asking if the store can carry, or if they do carry local authors, which they do. And then I called up a manager, and we got you an email. I hope that works out for you, because I don't work there anymore.
It's there's a lot of difficulties with COVID. So I've actually been to 2 chapters now. And I've got kind of a similar response, which is like we have to wait until COVID's like fully over for you to come in, do some talks, stuff like that. But there's also like some smaller bookstores, like one in Masonville Mall that I've talked to. I forget the name of it, but Coles, yeah. Not that small, but so they're trying to. They said there's a good chance to get my book in there. So yeah, it's slow steps to start. But I think if I keep trying at it, I'll get them in more bookstores.
My mom actually self-published her own book. It was through an American company, but it's a cookbook.
Okay.
So it was like after my grandma passed away, so her mom, and it's kind of dedicated to her. And it's awesome. Yeah, it's pretty simple. It's just recipes and some of her drawings, because she likes to draw.
So what kind of food is it?
It's like East Indian food, so whatever she ate growing up.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're from Karnataka in Bangalore, Mysore area. So a lot of South Indian food, like we eat idli, dosa, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think you're more of like a North Indian background, so it's kind of different.
Different but the same. Yeah.
The food's a little different. So
I've had dosa before though. It's really good.
Yeah. Like they make really long, thin ones. It's called paper dosa.
Okay.
That one's good.
Oh, I never had that one.
No. Yeah, we like the thicker ones too. But if you go to restaurants, like, that's an option you can buy, which is cool.
Next time I'll try it.
Yeah. I forgot. Anyway, she published a book. So that's why it was cool that when we met, you mentioned you published your own book. And we might as well get into it. So the book is called I Can't Rap, But I Can Write. And we talked about it a little bit. when we met at Chapters. So the title basically means it's a way of saying trying to figure out what you're good at and making the best use of it. Like some things you want to do might not always be
What's best
what you're good at. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, so like how did you get to writing this book? I mean, I've read it, so I have an idea, but just kind of if you can
kind of like a quick synopsis, I guess. So to kind of go off with the title, I've always, as many kids see, you see music videos, you see rappers doing all this cool stuff, right?
Yeah.
And you want to do the same stuff, like you want to be living that lifestyle. And that's what I wanted to, I wanted to, and I would go out, like I'd wear like the big chains, and like go to clubs and stuff. And kind of to feel that, right? But like after going through all of that, I just like that lifestyle is so fake for me. So I wanted to do something that's more genuine to me. Like I can express stuff like how I actually feel, my views, philosophies and stuff. So yeah, like even though rapping is super cool, I love listening to rap, maybe just for fun, I can write some rap songs sometimes, right? But like what's genuinely like true to me, what I actually enjoy is writing.
Yeah.
So that's why I thought, it wasn't something that I wanted to do. Like I published at the end of last year, right? But it's not something I thought I would do in my 20s even. This was something that I thought like I'm gonna build up knowledge. I've been making notes for like the last 2 years. Just like I'd hear like someone would say like a quote or something. I'd write it down in the note section of my phone quickly. Like I'm gonna use this one day. And like my plan was like have like 10 years worth of knowledge and then put it into a book. Like after like 2 years, I would scroll through my notes, like there's some really good stuff here. And do I really want to keep waiting? Like life's always not guaranteed. You don't know what's going to happen. So I'm like, I'm just going to write this book, publish it, kind of see what happens. And then, now after publishing this one, I already want to write some more.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it worked out well, I think.
So how did you get it actually like published and bound?
So it's actually pretty easy through Amazon. So you can sign there's like KDB exclusives and stuff. So basically what you do is you can self-publish your book and make less profits if you still want to go sell to other big stores and stuff. But I signed kind of an exclusive deal with Amazon. So I make like double the royalty essentially. But it's more like it's pretty much exclusive to Amazon. I can still print my own books. I asked them to print some copies and sell them myself. But I can't just like go to like Chapters, like headquarters and be like, hey, I need all your stores kind of like stock it. I can go to individual stores, be like, hey, I have some copies, like here's 10 copies. I'm a local author. Can you stock this? Versus, like the bigger, I think that would be a lot easier for actually got like a company, like a publishing company to do it. But I thought like everyone knows what Amazon is. Everyone can order off Amazon. It doesn't make sense for me to go talk to these big publishers when I can just do it myself, right? And have full control over it as well.
Yeah, that's a bonus that like that's nice because like I said, my mom published a book, but we went through a publishing company.
So how was that?
She didn't have a great experience. She's still not happy with the company. So first of all, it's an American company, and the problem is I think she had to like submit some form to get access to her money because of tax reasons or whatever. Anyway, but to get it published, we had to put up some money, or she did anyway. And they had like tiers of deals. Like if you want more expensive stuff, then they will do marketing for you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we went with one of the lower ones where you just get it published. They ship you whatever, like 20 copies so you can sell it yourself. But it's available everywhere, like Barnes and Noble, Kobo.
Oh, so they do it all for you?
They do it all for you.
Okay.
But the problem is like the problem is we went to them. So it's I'm not speaking for my mom, but like it's the way I see it is that it's not, it's like when you have a good friend, you guys kind of look out for each other. It's not like that kind of relationship.
Okay, they just want the money.
It feels like that.
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
So I think what you're doing, especially with your first one, is a good idea just based on the experience that I've seen that you went through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've heard about stories like similar to that. I just never wanted to get taken advantage of or something, right? I might have got more like, I don't know, like maybe some help with marketing or whatever. But I still think like when I can do it, when I have full control, I can still do it better than if someone else was to tell me what to do, because then I wouldn't fully I may not fully want to do that.
And you would be just one of whatever, like hundreds of authors they have.
They don't really care about you.
They're gonna go off of metrics, like, oh, this person's selling a lot of copies, let's put more focus on that.
Yeah.
But it's cool because now it's all on you, and because it's your work, you have a natural interest in getting it into the hands of people. Like I bought it directly from Amazon, so it was pretty easy. If you have Prime, it comes whenever.
Pretty quick.
So yeah, so that's cool. I was interested about how it got published. I also love this quote that you have on the back. It says, "Probably the best book I have ever written," and it's you. And it is your first book.
It's my only book.
Man, that was cool.
I wanted to throw in. I wanted it to be a serious book.
Yeah.
But still throw in as a little bit of jokes or humor as I could. Right.
Yeah.
I love to laugh and just like be as happy as I can. So even though like it's some like there are some dark topics I would say in it, which you can get into. Yeah. But yeah, I still wanted to have like overall a good message. I think going forward, I'll be using a lot more humor and like a positivity in my books.
Yeah. One thing I noticed, and we'll get into the topics, but like there's a lot that's, I feel like, similar between us, like both Indian background, grew up in Canada. I was born in southern India, but moved here like 20 years ago or whatever.
Oh, so you're just a few years old then?
I turned 8 a week after I moved to Canada.
Okay.
So before that, I spent a year in Oman with my family, but mostly growing up in India.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's like, yeah, it's like an Indian growing up surrounded by like white Canadians, basically. That kind of similar vibe. We both went to Waterloo, or you're still going, but I graduated from there. And the writing style, it was weird reading it because it's like, this is exactly how I write. Like
really,
this like the style. It's I would describe it as kind of formal, like technical-ish. I don't know if that's accurate, but
like I like to throw in some big vocabulary, I guess, right? Like make it like it's like a thesis or something, but at the same time, like dumb down the concept so like everyone can understand it, right?
Yeah.
Like I still want it to be clear, but have like it's not a kid's book, right? It's still a deeper topic. So like use proper like grammar, vocabulary, and everything.
Yeah. So it was cool because I was reading it and I was like, it's like I'm reading something I would write in terms of the style, not necessarily the content. So I enjoyed that. And I read like a chapter a day for 10 days. There were 10 chapters in there. And yeah, I made some notes. I guess we'll just get into it. Did you want to get into something specifically first?
No, I'll just go off your questions, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So, another thing I thought was cool. So you ran a half marathon, and I'm training to run one in June.
Oh, sweet.
I'm just gonna do it on my own, just to know I can do it. But I'm working up to it, and I have a personal trainer who's helping me in the gym.
Okay, sweet.
Do workouts and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was another common thread. It's exciting.
Okay, so have you ran before, like long distance?
Yeah, I mean, I run pretty regularly, like not so much these days, but on average once a week.
Okay.
I would like to increase that to 2 or 3 times a week. The longest I've run is 11K.
Okay.
I was limping by the end of it, but I did it. And I'd say I'm a runner, but not a half marathon. I've never run more than 11K.
Okay, yeah, because like right now I don't think I could even do 21K.
Yeah.
Because I've just been weightlifting, to be honest, and I haven't really been running recently. But I did say in the book I want to run a full marathon.
Yeah.
The only thing I found, and maybe you find this as well, like when I train, like I just like lose all my muscle, all my like hard work in the gym. So like I've done some more research. It's like you have to like really increase your protein and still do weightlifting when you're running. So I guess like that's why the main reason I've been hesitant to get back into it. Because I was just like, you know, I lost all like months of hard work just by running. Because like all my gains from the gym were literally gone. But like I was so skinny. I had like no muscle in my body after I completed 21K. So like, I don't even know what a 42 kilometer would do to me. So yeah, like there's it's a lot of fun, but you have to do your research as well. Like make sure you know what you're getting into. But yeah, like I think slowly just ramping it up. Like when I was training, started off with just a few K. And I would run that for a couple of days. Like I was training pretty aggressively because me and my friend, we both did it together. And I think we only had like 2 months, maybe even like 6 weeks of training time.
Okay.
And this is from like, obviously I was still active before. So it's not like I was like completely out of shape training for this 21 kilometer, but like still the most I would do is like a couple of kilometers at a time run, but just like slowly increasing it. I just found like we're so much more capable than we might think, right? Because like if you think about it, we're just animals, right? Like at the end of the day, like we've been running like in our evolutionary past, so much. You know, there's like theories that's how we evolved to like why we have less skin, to be running so much. Why we have less body hair than other animals like monkeys and stuff. Because we'd be running, you know, through the African savannah. And our bodies have to cool down. It's like we have it like literally in our DNA to do long distance running. So something that literally everyone can do. And like as you've probably found from the 11K, even you get those runner's highs.
Oh yeah,
and that shit's amazing. You know,
it's you're always chasing that, which is kind of sad because it comes once in a while for me. But yeah, it's cool because like all you need is a push to do something. Like the way I'm approaching it is I run a 2.5K loop. So I'm going to just increase the number of loops I'm doing.
Okay.
So the last one I did was 7.5K. So after 5, like I'm tired. Like, I don't have a stride. I'm basically limping. But I decided I'm just going to do it. I don't care if I'm limping. Then you finish it and then your body remembers that you did it. Like, you don't have to remember that you did it. But the next time you do it, it's like, oh, okay.
It's much easier.
I can do 3. I've done it before. So you just gotta, that's the way I'm approaching it. It's like, just do it, try it every week. If you fail, you'll remember that. If you succeed, you have the next step. You have like 8 2.5K loops to get to 20, and you just add a 9th, and it just goes up from there. So I think it's exciting. Like personally, that's how I approach things, is thinking about it. Like, I don't know, like I'm just trying to find a way to push past what I've done before. Like that's what we want to do.
Okay. So what, do you train outside or just train?
I run outside. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So, how is that? I've never ran in the winter before.
It's fine. Like it's initially, I mean, if you're jogging, like you might be kind of cold for like the first kilometer, but I layer up. I know some runners go in shorts and a shirt or whatever. That's not me. I'll be wearing just track pants, a shirt, and then like a jacket, and then another layer in between. So I don't mind feeling hot. So, but you can always unzip if you're feeling hot. The only important thing to remember is that I personally avoid running when the sidewalks are icy. Like today was fresh snow. So there's a layer of sticky snow. So I went for a jog. And
really? See, I wouldn't run in this weather just because there's, if I just see like slush or snow or anything, I'd just be too scared, I feel like. But yeah, if it works well, then.
It's like a sneakers, I find they have good traction. But when I say I'm running, I'm jogging at a very slow pace. I'm not sprinting. Like I wouldn't sprint in this weather. I would wait for dry ground or whatever. But if you just want to get used to practicing running outside, a casual jog, I mean, I might slip here and there, but I never fall. So it works out.
Because I love running outside. It's way better for me than treadmill.
So what do you mentioned you're in the gym. Are you training for anything now?
No, I've just been working on strength, maybe gain a little muscle. Usually like before the summer is when I really ramp up like my workouts.
Yeah.
Obviously everyone wants to look good for summer.
Okay.
So yeah, that's when like in the winter I've kind of just been I haven't been working out as much as I'd like to, I guess. Recently I've started a little bit more, just because I've been so busy with other things. So yeah, especially going forward, especially because it's like February now.
Yeah.
I think I'll really ramp it up just to look good and feel good about myself.
Yeah, in the book you mentioned your approach is to kind of do like the same stuff every day a little bit, and you find that works best for you instead of doing like heavy workouts twice a week or something like that. Is that right?
Yeah. So I used to work out kind of, I guess maybe like the traditional way where, you pick Monday, you do chest, like Wednesday, you do legs, and then arms on Friday or something, right? But then like for me, it's like I couldn't hit arms like once a week or chest once a week and then, find that I was getting stronger. I was able to lift more, especially with those breaks. And then I've talked about this in the book as well. I like to work out every morning because it just changes my whole mindset about the whole day, right? Like I feel energized as well. Like there's like the chemicals in your brain which get released, but also just like just how I feel. I just feel good. So that's another reason why I like to work out every day. And then I've done some reading on the compound effect. So I just tried it out with push-ups, like literally just push-ups. Because like if I was doing like chest day, for example, like once a week, like I would do push-ups on those days. But the next week, like I'm not getting any stronger, right? So now the way I've done it, like I tried it as like I'll do like literally like 25 push-ups today. Maybe then for the next 2 days, I'll still do 25.
Okay.
After a couple of days, those 25, they get pretty easy. Then I can go up to 30, right? And now like I'm doing like 100 push-ups straight, like in a row. And like I never thought like that was like a tough thing to do at first, but now it's like easy. Like I don't even like think about it. I'm just like going down so easily now. So yeah, I found that I just get more strength. I'm not saying it's gonna work for everyone. Some bodybuilders would be like, what the hell are you doing? No, you need arm day, chest day, everything, right? But for me, this is what I find works best.
It's funny you mentioned that about push-ups. Sometime in 2020, I did a push-up challenge with a couple of my friends. So we decided to see who can do the most push-ups in a month. And it got pretty crazy toward the end.
Like total or?
In total.
Oh, okay, wow.
So we over 30 days, we started like the first day, everyone would do like 10 or 20. Then I would be like, all right, I gotta show them out. I'm gonna do 40 the next day. My friend's girlfriend was doing it. She's very competitive. So she if I do 40, like the next day she'll do like 80 or something crazy like that. So it was, it's over a day, so you can spread it out however you want. So I remember one time I had to get my car service for an oil change or something. And it was toward the end of the month, and I decided I'm gonna do 15 push-ups every 30 minutes. Okay. So I'm there waiting in the waiting room. I'm talking to this lady. I'm like, excuse me, I have to push up 15 right now. And then she's like, oh yeah, sure, no worries. But anyway, so my peak number of push-ups in a day, I did 390 one day. Wow. That's just doing like 15 every half an hour, something crazy like that. Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely like if you just do something and you spread it out, over and over and over again, your body's like, all right, I guess we're doing push-ups every day, every 10 minutes, every half an hour. So yeah, it's cool. I always like hearing about how people work out because everyone does it differently. Yeah. My approach now is I'm just gonna do something every day. Recently I've been rucking. So okay, I'm not sure what that is. I mean, I think what it is actually is when you like go for a hike with like gear. Okay, yeah, that's what it is. I believe. But I just walk around in the suburbs with a backpack. Okay, I throw a rice bag in there. I throw whatever's heavy. So I'm up to 20 pounds just walking around for 3 kilometers. Wow. And you do that, like after that, I'm so tired. Because there's some heavy areas. So like doing something every day, either if it's going to the gym, seeing the trainer, running, doing that. Yeah. Especially if I don't want to do it, I'm just like, okay, I got to do something. Like this is the time to, when you don't want to do something and you do it, that's like important to me. Yeah. So that accomplishment that you get. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, you're just pushing through. Obviously, you got to be careful. You don't want to get hurt or anything.
Yeah, that rice bag is a good idea though.
Right.
Because I want to build up some more, because you build up your shoulders, your back, your cardio, everything with that.
I think so. It's just like for me, I have like kind of not really a terrible hunch, but my upper shoulders are not very, I don't know, like that. It's just
no, my posture be laughing too. I gotta make sure I'm sitting straight here.
So what I find helps is when I have the backpack on, like my shoulders have to go back. Like, it's just pushing you back. So it's like if you strengthen this area, then even the neck will eventually get better. Yeah. Because if you're typing, you're always like this, right? So you have that hinge in your neck. Anyway, yeah. So I don't know what we can get into, I guess. Oh, one idea that I found cool was actually, if you wouldn't mind, I was reading your book. It was in the Building Healthy Relationships chapter, and you told a story about some of your military training. Yeah, and it was about the concept of reciprocity and brotherhood, where you had like two teams. Yeah. Can you just kind of go over that story a little bit? Yeah, sure. That was good.
Yeah, so that was probably my most vivid memory from the military. So for those who haven't read the book or don't know about it, our whole like kind of squad, we had maybe 50 military members. Like we had more, but just like in this platoon, we had 50. And they split us into two parts. So one team was searching and one team was dead. So it was like simulating for an activity where, you're out in the battlefield, you have some soldiers from your team who are dead, or maybe they're injured, you have to find them. The conditions were not good either. So it was in that range between like -2 and probably like +1, where we were getting like freezing rain. Like it was like brutal. Like I would much rather just be like regular snow, because then you don't really feel the cold. When it's like freezing rain, like we're all like shivering out there. And what they had us do, so I was in the team where we were pretending that we were dead. So we were instructed to just lie down in this puddle. It was freezing cold, or some people were in like mud or behind bushes, wherever, right? So it was actually difficult to find us. And this happened in Cambridge, and there's like a bunch of parks and stuff all throughout Cambridge. This is Cambridge downtown, like not like some like special like training. This is like a downtown, like the middle of a park. And then there's like all these like, and it's a big area too, right? We could be anywhere. And we're kind of like all over the place. So it's a really cool scene, just like military members like walking over everywhere with like flashlights trying to find everyone. But yeah, like this drill ended up lasting for a couple hours. And there's like freezing rain coming down on us, and a lot of us were like, dude, like I don't know if I can curse here, but like fuck this, right? I don't want YouTube to take you down or whatever either. But
no, people swear on YouTube all the time.
Okay. I don't know, this stuff works, but they it took them about 2 hours, I would say, to find us. But yeah, there were some multiple times, even when myself, I'm like, bro, like I don't want to do this. Like this is like, what are we doing this for? What are we gaining from this, right? And always like in the moment you won't see it. But afterwards, when everything's over, then you're like, wow, like that was a beautiful drill, and never would have thought I would have experienced that, like that blissful moment from the military. Right. And then even like going home afterwards, having a hot shower, I've never been more grateful for hot water in my life, Yeah. I'm pretty sure I took at least a 30-minute shower when I came back too. I was just like so grateful for hot water. But yeah, like for your question, like brotherhood, yeah, like we were like, I didn't really like get along. Not per se like get along. I didn't feel connected with my other military members. Like I don't want to bring race into everything, but I was like, I think I was the only brown guy in our military platoon. There were some other like colored people as well, but it was mainly white, right? And I was in the reserves as well. So the culture there was very like fresh out of high school, or the minimum to actually join the reserves or even the military in Canada is grade 10. So as long as you have a grade 10, you can get in. So there's like high school dropouts here, and there's like police officers. So there's like a wide range, right? You have police officers who want to be in the reserves for fun as well. But the majority were to the side where it's like high school, like I just left high school, I like Call of Duty. Let's
Okay, really?
no, I'm being
Really?
serious here. Yeah,
Really?
like
Oh,
this,
okay.
like obviously different stations or whatever might be different, right? This was in Cambridge, which is where I was in the infantry force.
Okay.
And the primary force, I'll differentiate this. The primary force is not like that. Primary force is full-time guys.
Yeah.
These are guys that could, go to war at any second. They're ready. They train like they're supposed to train. Like sometimes to be honest, they just sit there and do nothing to video games. Um, but yeah, those are the guys that are ready to go. And the reserves are more like, we'll train you guys, but we'll probably never need you guys, right?
Yes.
So they'll take in anyone, to be honest, right? Like
Yeah.
as long as you can pass the test, and there's IQ tests, a few physical tests as well, which are not too hard in my opinion. They'll take you in. So I didn't like that culture, to be honest. Like I didn't fit in because these are people that are like I was kind of like, we would like talk amongst. I had a friend who was a police officer, and he was in the reserves. He's like we couldn't fully enjoy ourselves. We're like, these guys are just talking about like Call of Duty stuff, like we're trying to like how do we help people? How do we save someone? How do we save someone's life? How do we properly shoot a gun and stuff?
Yeah.
So that culture was so difficult to bypass, like to actually connect with my team. But after that drill, like I genuinely felt connected with my members. It's like we were all in it together, right? We just had that like the mantra, I guess, like we ride together, we die together, kind of thing. Yeah.
So just to be clear, so like you were like when you say you were in the military, I don't know much about it. Like was it like a training program or what was it exactly?
So this is the reserves. So like just there's
reserves.
Just a reserves. Yeah, just like a kind of like a backup for the primary force.
Yeah, I have a friend in the reserves now. I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah.
That's all. But yeah, that's like I don't have any military experience. But that reading that was really, in my opinion, like for me, the most powerful thing to read.
Yeah.
The like when you go through something with someone and you come out of it the other end, it's like there's a connection that you like it's always going to be there.
Yeah.
You can't. It would take a lot to sever that connection. So
like these are people that I also like never would have thought I'd ever want to be friends with, talk to, or whatever, right? Like as we went through these drills and all this like training stuff, and they do a lot of like stuff with trust, like whether that's like fall, like the most simplest stuff, like fall back and trust your partner will catch you, versus like actually knowing that like if my gun jams, like he's gonna have my back. You need to have that trust, right? So yeah, like I didn't think I would be able to connect with them, but I was, and some of them still to this day, like I'm good friends with.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
About 2 years now since I've left. Yeah.
Okay.
I just found it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Partly that reason, and also like I didn't see a future in it really. I wanted to, and it's also like it's very, very intensive. Like you have to certain days, like you have to be at the base, right? You have to be training for X amount of hours. There's no days off. You can call in sick really, but even then, like your commander is gonna be like, what the hell are you doing calling in sick? This is the military, not a 9-to-5 job, Right. So like the culture was difficult to kind of get into. But even though I was able to get into it, I just knew this is not something I'm doing for the rest of my life. So yeah, I left.
Yeah. So in that experience, I don't know if it's related, but I have here written reciprocity, which is something you talk about. I think that was more about like general relationships. Like the way I describe it to one of my friends was that if you're always the person trying to text someone or connect with someone, it's like, hey, we should hang out. Hang out. If it's 100% you, you should rethink that.
Yeah.
Like not everyone's going to meet you halfway. It will never be 50-50.
Yeah, you're right.
But if someone's at least putting in an effort of like
what they can.
Yeah. It's like every 10%, it's like, man, we should really hang out and miss talking to you.
Yeah.
That's something worth keeping. And it's a good way to, just in terms of friends, just to kind of figure out like, how do you maintain a bond as you grow older? And basically a way to like weed out people that may not be the best for you. So I thought that was cool. Yeah. And I think you apply that to like family members too, because like you said in the book, you can't just like leave your family members. Not every person in your family you can just leave behind.
Yeah, you can't. There's certain people that you have to deal with, right? That's just how life is, whether it's a coworker or family member you don't like.
Yeah.
So yeah, I provided some tips just on like if you absolutely have to, like try to find some common ground, right? Like there's common ground between everyone. I think, you know, there's something that, like, I believe there's something that any two people in the world can connect over, and bond, right? Like you can, if you want to say, you know, if you want to view the world and like everyone's different, like, oh, like fuck everyone, like I hate everyone, you know, like what's in it for me to go be nice. You know, you can have that mentality, but I think you'll just be a lot happier if you see what's similar in other people instead of what's different.
Right. Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of people have that mentality, right? We live in a very individualistic society, where it's like I go to work, I come home, like D&D's on, like don't call me, don't text me. Like kind of like, I guess social media has definitely like exacerbated that too. You know, it's like people don't have face to face like connect. Even with this podcast, you know, I didn't want to do a Zoom call. I wanted it to be face to face. It's more natural and real, right? But for most people, it's the opposite. It's like I don't want to go out in public. I love the social distancing stuff. So I get to be at home and just, you know, be in my little bubble. You know,
it's like it's comfort because not necessarily because it's comfortable, but because you're used to it.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think in general, it's important to watch out for, because when you get comfortable being away from people, it's like, how are you going to cultivate a community, whatever it is, whether it's your neighbors or friends or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
like, I don't think it's not good for you mentally either, I think. And which is what no one's talking about right now. It's like, you know, physically, it's like you have to, you know, distance yourself or whatever. We've been doing this for 2 years now, right? Stay home and whatever. But it's like, what about the other stuff? You know, like what about, you know, no one talks about how you can boost your immune system in other ways, right? And one of those, like having a healthy relationship, exercising, getting sunlight, right? That's the government. No one has ever mentioned that. It's just, you know, get your vaccine, which of course will help, but there's other stuff too, you know, like watch your weight and stuff. And yeah, like getting back to what we were talking about, like literally like face-to-face connections are so important. Like we're social animals, right? We need that social interaction. And I think if you don't get it, like for me, if I don't have any social interaction, like I'll get depressed. Like if I'm just like by myself for 2 weeks, like I don't feel like myself, you know, I feel very out of it.
No, like I did one semester as a student at Waterloo. I was working in Brampton, and I had rented a basement. I was living by myself for 4 months, just going to work, coming home. You know, we talked to the landlord for like 2 minutes, and then there's a cat. Oh man, it was rough.
Yeah.
I remember at one point, so there was a basement and they had like a small bar area. It wasn't an actual bar, but it was like a bar setup. And I had a bedroom, the living room, and then that bar area. And I was so alone. It was like I would like go to the different area just to like be like, okay, I'm over here now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's sad. It's like, so yeah, I've learned that it's great to be alone, but not for like extended periods of time, unless you're seriously heavy into like meditating or something like that. Like when it's a useful tool, that's great, but otherwise, you got to talk to people.
Like it's a good skill to have, to be able to, you know, like live by yourself, be able to, you know, like, you know, be mentally sane when you're by yourself. But I think everyone needs that social interaction. That's what I think that's what we're missing in like today's society.
Yeah, that's why I'm very happy that you wanted to meet in person. I've just been doing Zoom calls because I started in the pandemic. And I started at a time when it was still new. It was like, oh, maybe it's dangerous. Maybe we shouldn't talk to people. But now it's been so long, and like other provinces have already lifted restrictions. Even Ontario, I believe, has a plan to lift restrictions over the next few months. So this is great. I love this. Yeah.
Yeah, like even like I've been kind of like constrained as to like even what I can do with COVID, but I'm ready for the restrictions to drop and be able to travel. Main thing is travel. I want to travel and promote this book too, right? I kind of get two things because I haven't taken a vacation in a long time. I've just been like working, work. So I want to take a vacation and still work on the side a little bit, I guess. Like whether it's like walking on the beach and just telling people that I'm author. Like that's not literally how we met, right? Just walked into chapters, like we ended up having a conversation. Now we're doing this podcast. So like I just love going out and actually meeting people.
I would agree with that. I'm not so outgoing, but I make it a point to try to talk to someone new every day. I don't know. I haven't been keeping track, but now that I've said it on a video, I'll probably have to keep track.
Yeah.
Anyway, like someone new could be like, go to the drive-through at Tim Hortons, talk to someone, just like, hey, how's it going? At the gym, try to start a conversation with the front desk person. It's the reason that's so important for me is because it's a contrast to what I do usually, which is like, hello, no symptoms, I'm just going to the gym, right? But like taking an active interest in other people is a way to I don't know, I think that's just better.
Like to add on to that, like my cousin actually mentioned this to me a couple months ago, but he was talking about like program responses. And he was saying how a lot of the interaction we have, especially with strangers, are just program responses. It's like, hey, how are you? You don't even think about it, it's just like it's programmed in your brain. You're not actually having a conversation. So yeah, I've ever since you mentioned that, I've been trying to get away from that. And like every conversation, even if it's just a drive through, like, hey, like how are, like, like genuinely mean like, how are you doing? And then ask them how their day is, like whatever you can do to actually have that real, like make them feel like a person.
Yeah, I know. Cause like, I don't know if have you ever met someone who like, they always know the right thing to say to you? It's like, there are just some people who are just tuned in. Like it doesn't matter who they're talking to, but they just know.
But they can feed into your whatever you want to hear.
Yeah, it's like that's, I don't know what that is. But, and I'm not saying I want that, but it's like if you take an interest in people, it's like you're taking an interest in your life, and who doesn't want to do that?
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah. No, that's just a good skill to have for sure.
But yeah, let's see. I don't really know how to like transition to.
Yeah, we've kind of been all over the place. That's okay.
I'm just trying to think, like, did you want to get into the addiction stuff? Like, you mentioned in the book that there was a period, like maybe a year or two, where you were using weed a lot to kind of cope with like a breakup or family issues. Yeah, anything you wanted to say about that? I don't
Okay, yeah, sure. So yeah, there was like a point in my life where I was like just chain smoking. So like literally like you wake up in the morning and I would smoke weed, and then like every hour it was just like another hit or whatever, right? And the thing about weed with me is that when I first started, it was awesome. Like every time I would do it, I would get a high, right? Like I would get happy. Like I would just kind of like dissociate, like all those like small issues and stuff were just gone, right? And I can just like focus on like if I was high and I was like looking at this water bottle is all I would think about, right? Like when you're sober, if you just look at a water bottle, it's like there's still so much stuff going on in your mind, right? So that's why I became so dependent on it. So it just kind of, I wasn't thinking about the breakup, anything, right? All my problems were just gone. But too much of anything is not good. So yeah, I just spiraled, and eventually I was always high. And then I saw that transition, which like I would get high and I would smoke weed, but I wouldn't actually physically get high. So like one, there's a tolerance, but like even though I was like high, I wouldn't feel happy.
Right.
It was actually the opposite. I started feeling depressed when I was smoking. I would literally smoke weed and like I'd feel so like my anxiety would go through the roof. Like I feel so anxious. Those problems would come back, but they would be way worse to deal with than when I was sober.
Okay.
Like it will just be like just such like a negative view on the world, I guess.
Right. It's like an analogy I think of is, you lock your front door to keep people out, but if like they just start knocking harder over and over, and at some point you can't stop them, it just comes rushing.
They got to come in. Yeah. That's a good analogy. Yeah.
Okay. That's kind of what your experience was.
Yeah. So like at first it was working, and then it's like I wrote that in that book too. You can hide it from your demons or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you hide from them, they'll come back stronger.
Yes.
Right. And that's what I found was happening. Like I was like, stuff was coming back from like 2 years ago, right? That I thought was gone and I dealt with. But until you actually like you sit down, you write it down, you write down what's bothering you, think about like why it's bothering you, like what's like the root cause, and then you actually work with it. That's the only way I've found personally I can like overcome like something, something traumatic, to something I don't want to think about, right? Or like a negative thought. But yeah, so like I've been smoking a lot less weed recently. Like I still will get high every like once in a while, but never by myself.
Okay.
I don't really get high by myself anymore. Like if I'm with like a friend or something, then I will.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't have the best relationship with weed anymore. I still will get anxious sometimes.
Yeah.
So I don't really know like the cause or whatever. But yeah, I like to be sober as much as I can now.
Yeah, that's cool because like you like that decision is based on the experience, right? So it's such a strong motivator not to get into your previous pattern of chain smoking or doing something every day. Like that, it's kind of the opposite of what we talked about earlier, where like with push-ups, if you do it every day, you can pump out 50, 100 push-ups, but it's the same in the opposite direction.
Yeah,
if you do something that
yeah.
makes your anxiousness worse, it's like it's not gonna get better. Just keep doing it. Right? It's wild. It's just so interesting hearing about like stuff like that.
Yeah. And that was like not something I was really sure if I wanted to share with the world when I was writing. And I was really, because like like you know what the culture is like for Indian families, right? It's like no parent, no family member wants to read about that, right? And like I had a decent amount of family members who never even knew I smoked weed,
right?
Right, because it's like just a taboo, weird thing to do. But I guess like the reason I shared that story is like I know there are other people out there that deal with the same stuff. Like I have friends that still to this day like they are always high, right? And the biggest problem is a lot of people don't think it's a problem.
Right, because it's legal and
exactly, right? It's like no one would accept you to be drunk all the time, right? You can't, if you were to wake up and start drinking and drink throughout the whole day, people be like, you have a problem.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Now you take that, especially with like university students, younger people. If someone does a wake and bake, they smoke weed first thing in the morning, that's cool to some people. Right. But to almost no one that is drinking first thing in the morning, cool.
That's a good point.
Right.
Yeah.
So like the first problem is people have to be aware that it is a problem.
Yeah.
Like even some people just smoke before bed every night. I don't think that's too much of an issue. If it just helps them go to sleep, like it would for me when I first started. But it's like what I'm talking about here is like people that are always high. Like you have a problem and you just smoke weed. Like what happens if you have to go on a vacation and that country doesn't, weed is illegal there? Like how do you even survive? And even for me, like the reason I say that is like I would have to go. Like I went to LA like a little while ago, like 2 years ago. And even though weed is legal there, I was under 21. So it means I couldn't get any weed.
Right.
And like that transition was so hard for me.
Okay.
Like, because I was like so used to smoking weed every day. And then I go here, not just every day, all the time. Then I go here, I'm just sober. And it's like all these emotions are running back to you, all this stuff that you haven't dealt with is coming back to you. And it's like, then what? Right. So like a lot of people say weed's not an issue. It's not addictive, but sure, it's not physically addictive, but like mentally it definitely is. Which is where the problem is, I think.
Yeah, it's a tool, and it's how you use it. Like if you're using it responsibly, for example, if you're using it to go to sleep, I mean, I haven't tried it, but I mean, if it's just that, it sounds like that's reasonable.
So you've never smoked weed?
I have,
Yeah.
but like not regularly.
Uh-huh.
It's always been with like friends around. Like
Okay.
um, I've tried a bunch of varieties. I've tried like vaping, I've
Mm-hmm.
tried a dab,
Yeah.
a blunt, a pipe, like a and then a brownie. The brownie was the craziest part.
Okay. Edible.
The
Yeah.
edible, yeah.
Yeah.
So that one was just like, you have a brownie, it's like half an hour later, everything is just slows down.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna take forever for this to wear off.
Uh-huh.
So I find a couch, I sit down, I'm at this small party with friends. And the funniest thing was there was this girl who also had a brownie and she was like upbeat and very happy and like very
Mm.
full of energy. And then she also had a piece. And then like her like smiling face just kind of like
Yeah.
just dropped. And there was a light in front of like above her head.
Mm-hmm.
And then she just looked like an old lady because like all the shadows were anyway. So I sat down and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna wait it out. And it was
Mm-hmm.
just like I was waiting, like an hour passed by, and I
Mm-hmm.
checked my watch, it'd been like 60 seconds.
Oh man.
It's like, okay, I'm not a fan of this. So I just kind of waited
Uh-huh.
it out.
Yeah.
It was kind of like someone's forcing you to relax and you don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I describe it.
Okay.
It wasn't like a terrible experience, but I didn't like it. So, I don't really go out of my way to um, consume marijuana in any way.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, like similar for me. When I first started, I would get too high, right? Like kind of similar thing. And then I stopped like completely for like almost a year.
yeah.
And then I got back into it, as we talked about with like just what was going on in my life. So yeah, it's just like I feel like for a lot of people, they don't they won't have a good time on weed.
Yeah.
But when you keep doing it, then eventually like, you almost like you're forcing yourself to like it, you know?
Yeah.
It's like this is the cool thing to do. So I'm just gonna just do it just to numb the pain or just see what happens.
Yeah. One sec. But yeah, that was a good point about how doing like a wake and bake is not as considered bad as
Mm-hmm.
waking up and just drinking.
Yeah.
Because maybe it's because it's so new and like older people probably are not as familiar with weed because it's been illegal when they were like people in their seniors or 50s and 60s and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like because I had a friend who did that, who would smoke every day almost immediately after he woke up.
Mm-hmm.
But he was a really hyper kid, so he would do it kind of to kind of like
Calm down. Yeah.
So that kind of helped. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, um, yeah. So that's where the addiction comes in, is like the dependence on something to feel good or normal. So like, what are your tools these days to cope with the everyday stresses of life, whether it's family, relationship, that voice in your head that says you're not good enough, whatever
Yeah.
it is.
I talk about this in the book as well, but like I do meditate a lot.
Oh yeah.
That's it's a hit or miss for people. I feel like a lot of people are against meditation because they just think it's weird. But I think when you're really stressed out, if you were to just try it, right, you would find, like, for example, if I'm really stressed out about school, other stuff going on, right, really whatever it is, family issues, that's when like my brain, like my I don't know, like my addictive genes to say will like trigger and be like, like get some release of dopamine to shift your attention away from all this stuff, right? So that could be marijuana, it could be alcohol, it could be anything for different individuals, right? So it's like what I do is I identify my triggers, which is the first thing. And then obviously like the very first step is obviously acceptance. You have to know if you have an issue, or if you have an addiction or whatever, right? So if it's weed, like you have to know like it's a problem, right? First you have to acknowledge it is a problem. And then I find my triggers. So for example, if I just got in an argument with my friend, I could get off the phone, maybe they were just being super negative or something, right? I get off the phone and then I notice like I'm like stressed. My body language is like curled up. I'm not feeling my best, right? And my brain is saying, find something, go smoke, go take a hit, right? I found my trigger. Instead of going to take the hit, I can just meditate.
Okay.
So what I like to do a lot is guided meditations on YouTube.
Okay.
Which will walk you through, will calm you down. Every time I do that though, I can reverse it. So it's like if I'm super stressed out and I just meditate, if I'm the more stressed out I am, the longer I meditate. Right. So if I'm super stressed out, I'll sit there I'm literally just on the floor of my bedroom for like 10-15 minutes, and I'll just like close my eyes, focus on my breathing, and then just do the guided meditation. What I find really helps as well is to like physically imagine your body, every body part of yours relaxing.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, it's like imagine your, like when you're meditating, like imagine like your shoulders, all that stress just taken off, and they're relaxed. And you do that with all your body, and it feels amazing, man. And you're still sober.
No, I've done that because I did yoga for about a year at a London studio here, Yoga Center London. They teach Iyengar yoga, which is some style of yoga. But at the end of every session, we do shavasana, which is called corpse pose, and you're basically lying on your back, and you can use support like one of those long pillows, like hot dog pillows, type things. And you're supported, and then it is a guided technically because the teacher is like, all right, so close your eyes, relax all your jaw muscles. If you're like relax your eyes. So
it really helps.
It's crazy because like your attention just goes there, and you're like, oh, is my jaw always tight? It's like, this feels weird.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a good tool. I like that. I just focus on my breathing. I find that helps for me.
Yeah.
Guided meditation, personally, it's like if I hear someone else's voice, I'm like, I wonder what this person's like. How do they record this? What was their studio set up? That kind of stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, so either meditation or also I'll work out or go on a run too, which will completely change my mood as well.
That's I find that's my approach is like I think you kind of mentioned this in the book, but I'm not 100% sure, is kind of have to have lists or like a to-do list.
Yeah.
So I have a small to-do list every day. And if I don't check it off, it's like, I feel bad. So it's like, I don't want to feel bad. So I better do it. So like, let's say there are 8 items. One will always be something I don't really want to do. Yeah. So it's like, if you finish all the 7 things you want to do, then you're like, might as well. I got to do it. Yeah. Or if you do it first, then you're like, that's out of the way. I use psychological tricks to get myself to do things. Yeah. So I find that. No,
I do the same thing, the list thing every single day. Yeah. Because like if I just like even mentally have the same list in my head, it won't get done.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, I have to write it down, see it, and then hold myself accountable. And also like then you can see your timing too. Like, oh, I'm only done 2 things and it's 5 p.m. right? Like I better get going. Yes. So yeah, that list is like one of the greatest pieces of advice I could give, I think. Just write down everything you want to do.
Yeah, tools are really important for well-being, whatever they are. Meditation is a great one. Running, like you said. But generally, I would say if it's possible to cultivate a lifestyle that enriches you just by doing it, like the list thing. It's like, just by doing that, and you do it every day, it's like, it's just gonna, it's hard. It's that momentum that keeps you going, because it's so easy to, like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like some people, when they watch a movie on Netflix, they'll be 20 minutes in and be like, I don't like it. I don't want to watch it anymore, which is fine. That's a lot of people do that. I know people who do that. But I'll be thinking about that movie for like years. I'll be like, I never finished that. Yeah. I never finished that TV show. So to change my patterns, even if it's something I don't like, for example, every time I have coffee, I have a couple of cookies with them. I've tried for months. It's like, all right, I'm just going to have one, but it always turns into 2 or 3. Yeah. The best way for me is like, don't bring them home. If it's at not all, there, I don't need, it's not a problem. But I don't know how I got on there, but yeah. Tools.
Tools, yeah. Tools to help yourself. Yeah. Yeah, if you don't have access, you won't do it. It's that simple. The simple thing, yeah.
I think I basically covered everything. It's like, we've kind of been all over the place.
Yeah.
But yeah, how's life otherwise?
Good. Yeah. Nothing really. I don't know. I've kind of just been chilling as much as I can, right? Like with this lockdown and stuff. And then this summer I'm hoping to, get out a lot more, promote stuff. And yeah.
Right. And you're already starting on your second book?
I haven't started it yet, but like there have been some people that are like, yo, when is the next book coming out and stuff.
Yeah.
So that is some motivation to like do something if people actually want to, read it.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna rush it. This one, I didn't rush this one. But I still like there was like timelines and stuff. Like I wanted it out by Christmas.
Yes.
So not to say it's rushed. I feel like if my next piece of work, I'm just saying I'm gonna put way more time into it. Not have any deadlines, kind of whenever it gets done, whether that's like the end of this year or the end of next year or like 3 years from now, right? I'm not really sure.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm not gonna rush it. And that one I'm hoping, I don't know if I'll just go through Amazon again because I've already done this. If I can find a publisher, like I've talked to a few publishers so far, just for how the process works and stuff. But if I can get like a big publisher, then it may go that route for my second book.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because I have thought about writing something because I like writing, but I don't know what to like say. It's just so weird thinking about. It's like I want, like, just giving a book to someone and be like, this is what I want to say. It's like, did you go through that at all?
I have some writer friends as well, and it's kind of like it's a very similar thing that writers go through. It's like you might write 1,000 words, and you look back at it, it's like, does anyone actually want to read this? It's like, will anyone actually like this? And you delete everything.
Oh no.
And then you write again, right? Yeah. And maybe it's a little bit better, right? But it's like you'll go through that, and then there's something called writer's block as well, where you're just like you're not getting any ideas. You don't know what to write about.
Yeah,
right. I've gotten in those periods sometimes. That's when I just like put everything away, just go live my life, and then when I feel it comes back naturally to me every time, right? I'll just naturally feel like, I'll just like come to a realization. I'll be in a conversation, someone will say something that just like sparks something, and then I want to write about it, right? Because I think it's so important. So yeah, I think all writers go through that. And I think every writer has like a different solution to how they deal with writer's block.
Right. Like for me, writing how I'm feeling and whatever's going on in life, it's useful to me. It's like I'm trying to figure out, just by writing it out, I'm figuring out my own ideas, and it's a process of not worrying about stuff anymore. It's like you write it, for example, just setting up this podcast, I was like, oh, I've never done one in person. I wonder if the mic's gonna work. So I just wrote about it. I was like, well, you got to try it once and see how it goes. So like what I'm kind of getting at is, I guess you explained it clearly. It's like, who wants to read this?
I think you'll be surprised though, because it's like some of the stuff I wrote in the book is not stuff that I thought people would mention when they like talk to me about the book, right? Okay. It's like you never know what's going to connect with someone.
Okay.
Even if you think it's going to connect with no one, like it might connect with like just even one person. Like for example, like the biggest comment I've got actually is from like brown dudes, like talking about how they've faced similar stuff, like growing up around mainly like white people, right?
Oh yeah.
Like the cultural like divide, I guess.
Right. You told the story when you went to a new school when you were 11 or something. And
yeah, so like I was born in Calgary, which is like super diverse.
Yeah.
I grew up with like a lot of kids that looked like me. It was pretty normal upbringing for the most part, right? Then I moved to Ingersoll, which is just 30-40 minutes away from London. And it was like, especially when I moved, like I was the only brown kid in my whole school, right? And it's like, even the stuff, like the terminology we were using when I was, like the kids were using in Calgary was like completely different from what the culture was here, right? And so many other kids, which I never even realized, have gone through the same thing.
Oh yeah.
Right? And it's like, so many people are able to connect to that. I've heard that so many times. It's like even from like relatives, which was like older, which never thought, like I had an uncle who's like in his 40s. He's like, dude, when I went to school, like I went through the same thing. Like I love that. I love that you wrote about that.
Oh wow.
So and I never like that's the one thing I never thought anyone would connect with, right? And now look, like everyone's connecting with it. So it's like you never know what people are going to connect with till you actually put it out, right? And then even if no one connects with it, like so what?
But like, what's your take on, let's say like you're reading this 10 years from now.
Yeah.
Chances are some of your thoughts or ideas on things would have changed. So like there's something about the written word to me. It's like when I read someone else's writing, there's some kind of finality to it. But that is changing now because of the internet, the social media, and like Twitter. Like you read Twitter, it's not the same thing as reading like something in here which you spend time thinking about. It's like a quick reaction. It's like, oh, he sucks. But there's just, maybe it's just the way that we grew up, where we had to read textbooks and stuff like that. There's like a finality to the written word. So I don't know if that's just something I can't get over. It's like, okay, how do I, because I'm always worried about writing something that is hopefully eternally true. Okay, that's not going to be the case when you write thousands of words. Any thoughts on that?
I think I faced that too. It's like, like, will I even agree with this book when I'm like getting married or when I have kids? Like, would I want my kids to read this book? Right? Because there's some deep stuff that I talk about too, and it's like my views will change. Like, for example, I don't want my kid to be like, well, you smoke marijuana all the time, so why can't I? Right. So there is stuff like that, which my views will change, and I'll be like, I have a philosophy that I don't regret anything in life. I think everything happens for a reason. And I still like stay true to that. But yeah, like I'm not.
It's a tough question. It's like I'm really good at asking questions, but not so much at answering. So most of my writing is just questions.
So yeah, I kind of just put it out there, It's like I don't like, the one thing I've done is like if I really am not sure, like there was some stuff from this book where it was like it was on the like the border, I guess. Like, is this pushing it to put this out there? Like, or is this like, will this expose someone? About like X or something. So what I would do is I took a lot of stuff out from this book actually as well. But I would sit with it for like days. Like I wouldn't write. So like I would finish writing a chapter. Like the relationship chapter especially. Like that one I changed so much because I wanted it to be like as I didn't want anyone to feel bad over reading it, but I still wanted to get my message out, right? I didn't want anyone to feel like I was attacking them of what they've done in the past. But I still want to share why that led to the addiction and everything, right? Right. So there's like that balance. So I would just sit with it, and that's all I would think about for those couple of days. Like, do I want to publish this? And what I found honestly is like when I would wait after a couple of days, most of the time it's actually like, I don't think I should publish all of this. I should change it to this because this is pushing it. Right. But in the moment, like, especially when your ego gets it intertwined, it's like, this is good. Who cares what they think? This is good work. Right. And then, just wait, come back to it, see how you feel. And I think, your heart will tell you what the answer is.
A couple of sleeps, you'll be like, oh, that's probably not good. Okay. That's cool. Yeah,
man. If you want to write, I encourage it.
I got to figure out what to write. I think one approach is always it's like keep a journal for a year, read it over, see what you can make into a book. I'll do that.
What I find really interesting though is like I've talked to a few Chapters employees, and you mentioned the same thing now. Like every single one I've talked to wants to write a book.
Really?
I'm not even kidding. 100% of employees I've talked to, they'll say, "Oh my God, you wrote a book. I want to too." Like what? But I'm like, what's the process? Like it's like the same kind of questions you're asking, right? It's like, well, how do I know if I want to publish it? But you just got to do it.
I like that. Well, I'm happy that you told me that you did it through Amazon. And did you just do it all online, or did you have to talk to an agent or somebody on Amazon? Or?
There were some there issues that arose where I did call them and email them. But if all goes well, you don't need to talk to anyone. You can do it all online.
That's cool. So I guess I'm writing a book.
Well, you said it here, so they're gonna hold you accountable.
Release date TBD. Okay. That's cool. Excellent.
Yeah, if that's what's in your heart, man, you should definitely do it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm pretty tired now. I think we've covered a lot of stuff.
Yeah. We've been all over the place, but we covered a lot of good stuff, I think.
Is there anything else you wanted to cover, whether it's like just about you or what's in the future? Anything you want to say?
I'm trying my best to just live in the moment.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know what the future holds. I do hope to come back, do this podcast again though in the future for sure.
Absolutely.
Maybe in a year or whatever. This was a lot of fun. I find this is my first like official real podcast, but I had so much fun. Just feels like a real conversation. There's just a camera there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to do it again. I'm just living in the moment. And then I guess we'll see what happens.
Cool. I think that's it.
Awesome, man.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you again for coming.
Of course.
Let's stop. This is Row Talk.